result has been produced and that some person is criminally responsible for the act. You see, the whole of court cases and the whole idea of passing laws and executing the laws, you know, like with the police department and having courts, it all revolves around causation. Somebody caused something. So if you see here in the Arizona Supreme Court saying that a certain result has been produced in somebody's act, so you have two different things, like they said, there's two elements. You have the act, which is separate from the result. The act is where you do something, and then what you did caused a result. Remember, causation. We're going to get into that in some of these other cases. So look at a drug case, for example. Let's just imagine, now remember, I don't do drugs and I don't advocate the use of drugs, they're all hypothetical. But let's just imagine I have a huge crop of marijuana or hemp or reefer growing out in the backyard. That's the act that I'm growing plants called marijuana or hemp. I'm just growing it at this point. What is the result? You keep that in mind as we start going through this. Now, attorneys will also say, or judges, lawyers, whatever, prosecutors, that American jurisprudence, which it is a legal encyclopedia, and they'll say that has no legal bearing whatsoever. That's not a legal authority. Well, it's not true. And I'm not going to go through all the citations, it's way too long. I'm going to read from American Jurisprudence, 2nd edition, and it's evidence section 1476. Everything in American jurisprudence, this legal encyclopedia, all of it, think of it as they've clipped together Supreme Court rulings, not dicta, okay? All they do is they take these rulings and they clip them together for different subjects. And here they're talking about evidence. And this is what every Supreme Court has said. The corpus delicti of a crime consists of two elements: the fact of the injury or loss or harm, and 2, the existence of criminal agency as its cause. I just want to point out that corpus delicti is Latin for body of the crime. It's the crime itself. So you can see, like not having a driver's license, where's the body of the crime? There is none. And then if we get into the technical, legal aspect of a corpus delicti, you'll see in the criminal case, in a traffic case such as no driver's license or failure to produce identification, oh my gosh, you'll see that the two elements are gone. They're just not there. You have the fact of the injury or loss or harm, and 2, the existence of criminal agency as its cause. Well, obviously, if there's no injury, there's no cause. You haven't caused anything. So, not having identification in and of itself, is it a crime? No. How could it possibly be a crime? That doesn't apply in every court. Oh, wait a moment. We'll go through those cases. That applies in every criminal case. And remember, the Constitution says that the government was established to protect and maintain individual rights. Now, if I don't give my identification to a police officer, how can it be a crime for not doing so? Whose rights have I violated? Does the police officer have a right to look at my identification? Even if he did, corpus delicti requires 2 elements: loss, harm, or injury. There's no harm, there's no damage. Maybe to his ego, maybe because I didn't bow down to his authority, but I don't think you can really have a cause of action or a crime because your ego is bruised. I don't think so. Move on. Corpus delicti consists of 2 elements: proof, direct or circumstantial, that specific loss or injury occurred and that someone's criminality is cause of loss or injury. See? That's Missouri. We'll go to Utah. Corpus delicti rule states that some person may not be convicted of crime if no independent evidence outside the defendant's own statements exists. To satisfy doctrine, state must produce independent evidence that injury or harm specified in crime occurred and that injury or harm was caused by someone's criminal activity. That's State v. Archuleta, 850 Pacific 2nd on page 1241. Move on to Connecticut. Corpus delicti consists of occurrence of a specific kind of loss or injury embraced in crime charged, rather than commission of crime charged by someone. We'll go to Louisiana, which is absolutely notorious for corruption. I love the name of this case, State versus Outlaw. It's 485 Southern Report, 2nd edition, page 221. Corpus delicti, the body or substance of crime, is composed of two elements: occurrence of an unlawful injury and illegal conduct causing that injury. Go to Indiana. State must produce corroborating evidence of corpus delicti, showing that injury or harm constituting crime occurred and that injury or harm was caused by someone's criminal activity. That's 567 Northeast Reports, 2nd edition, on page 121. And we go to California, well known for drug putting people in jail. I think California statistically has more people in prison than some states in Europe. It says, in every prosecution for crime, let me read that again. In every prosecution for crime, that includes traffic, drugs, gun possession, like not having a license to carry a firearm, okay? In every prosecution for crime, it is necessary to establish the corpus delicti, i.e. the body or elements of the crime. I want to point out that in American jurisprudence, the Supreme Courts have also ruled as an element of the crime, there must be sufficient proof of both elements of the corpus delicti beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay, you have to prove the injury beyond a reasonable doubt. Well, officer, let's see. I have 60 kilos worth of marijuana here in my garage. Where's the injury? Oh, see, to have probable cause for a crime, to have probable cause, the officer has to basically believe that a crime is about to be committed or has been committed. And he has to have, and to question me, he has to have reasonable articulable suspicion, which means he has to be able to articulate the crime. What is a crime? Well, a crime consists of two elements. It is an act that causes loss, harm, or injury. And the causation has to be premeditated. It has to be that you knew it was going to cause injury. Remember, the Supreme Court and the Constitution says the government is to protect and maintain what? Individual rights. So if I have 60 kilos worth of marijuana in my garage, which I don't, but if I had 60 kilos worth of marijuana in my garage, whose rights am I violating and where's the damage? Oh, but Mark, that's just the Constitution. That's just why we have government. Well, you know, the funny thing is, and this is why I don't want anyone emailing me and calling me a conspiracy theorist. Most people, and if you listen to the archive of my shows, most people and bureaucrats don't understand why we even have government in the first place. So most of them are honestly thinking they're doing a good thing. So please, spare me the conspiracy theory nonsense. Let's move on to Michigan, which is absolutely notorious for life sentences for marijuana possession. That's right, possessing marijuana in Michigan or connected to someone in Michigan can get you a life sentence. And here, the law in Michigan, same as everywhere else, in People v. Swift, 470 Northwest 2nd, page 492. Corpus delicti, meaning body or substance of crime charged, involves two elements: injury, which is penally proscribed, and unlawfulness of some person's conduct in causing the injury. Amazing. Again, two elements. Injury, which is penally proscribed, and of the tens of thousands of people sitting in prison in Michigan, how many of them, on drug charges, were ever accused of an injury?